Hi, everyone, and welcome to West Coast Sports Associates annual gala, the Roy Firestone Award. Well, we're here together again to try to raise some great money for youth sports in Southern California. And while we've all been in the same storm, we've all been in different boats. And particularly these young people, they've been in some incredible difficult times and not playing youth sports. So we need to help get them ready to get back out on the fields and out on the playgrounds so they can get a little social interaction and a little sports going. And that's what this night's all about, raising some valuable money to create resources for these young kids. Each year, West Coast Sports Associates raises nearly $250,000 just to give back to kids in sports. And we're glad you could be along with us tonight. I know some of you had a great time in our wine breakout sessions, but now it's time to get to the order of business. So what do we normally do? Well, we normally have an auction. We normally have a race the paddle. And we also have an incredible interview. And this year, Roy Firestone goes up close with Charles Barkley. So tonight, you're also going to hear from some of my fellow members, as well as our president, Mike Gottlieb. So let's get this evening underway because it's time to make a difference in the world of Southern California youth sports. And no one does it better than West Coast Sports Associates. I'm Sam Lagana, and it's my pleasure to be your host and MC. Welcome along for the ride. Now, let's go to Mike Gottlieb.
Thank you, Sam, and what a night we're going to have tonight. We are super excited, especially for the four of us who founded this group 25 years ago, along with myself, Mike Rosenberg, Chip Eggers, and Alan Lynch. Thank you guys so much for everything you've done, not only to start the group, but to get it to where it is today, 25 years later. To date, we've raised close to $4 million for youth sports programs in Southern California, about 10,000 kids a year, 24 programs. And these are kids who, without these funds, they would not be able to play team sports. We don't have a back office. We rely on you, our dedicated board members, our sponsors, our donors, an amazing group of volunteers, all to help keep the mission of making youth sports possible alive. Many of us have been fortunate enough to have had these great experiences playing sports as kids growing up, and I just can't think what it would be like not to have those experiences. So please tonight dig deep for all the kids that won't have that opportunity if it's not for our funding. It's certainly been a challenging year. Programs are starting to get up and going again. We are very supportive, looking forward to finishing the year strong, getting off to a great year next year. We want to thank especially our sponsors tonight, my fellow founders, Chip, Mike, and Alan. Especially want to thank Roy Firestone for 25 years of dedication to WSA. Evan Schroka, our event chair, in particular, Charles Barkley, our honoree. And last but not least, Susie Lee, our executive director, who makes it all happen behind the scenes. And I'd like to now introduce to you Susie Lee.
Thank you so much for that, Mike. I totally appreciate it. Hey, listen, I just wanted to hop on really quickly and let all of you know how appreciative I am for your continued support. And I'm completely blown away by everybody's generosity. So thank you so much for all of that. I also wanted to give a quick thank you to our tasting hosts, along with J. Riger and Company Whiskey, LA Ale Works, Laurent Pierre Champagne, and Honada Wineries. I know that all of you had a great time. This year definitely looks different than our past events, but I can promise you the next hour ahead is going to be fantastic. So sit back, continue enjoying your tastings, and have a great rest of the evening. And again, thank you all so much for being here. And on with the rest of the show.
Well, thank you, Susie. Thank you for having me. It really is an honor to be here with you and to be here with all of you watching on screen as well right now. As you've heard, we have a great show lined up for you. Roy Firestone and Charles Barkley are going to put on a great interview. Can't miss that. All of it to benefit the fantastic work of West Coast Sports Associates. Work that empowers youth of economically disadvantaged backgrounds to experience the character-building, life-changing world of team sports. WSA believes at its core that active kids do better in life. And tonight, we are looking to you, watching on screen right now, to help support that work. But first, it is my honor to introduce the man who will be leading our journey this evening. He is a force to be reckoned with in the world of sports reporting. A man whom I have spent hours watching and listening to, and I got to admit, I did a little fanboy swoon when I learned I'd be sharing the screen with him tonight. He's won 7 Emmys, 7 ACE Awards, interviewed over 5,000 athletes and celebrities in his career. Everyone watching, please welcome Roy Firestone.
Everybody welching, huh? Thanks, Greg. We're going to have a great time tonight, folks, for a great cause. This is our 25th year of doing this. Obviously, we would have loved to have done it in person with Charles. He was game, but unfortunately, nature wasn't. We're going to get through this. It's going to be an uphill battle, as we all know how hard this has been. I want to give a special hello to Lisa Dew. She's in Philadelphia. She lives right across the street from Charles Barkley. Lassoff, the Jager family. We have people from all over the country watching. Vicky Drucker is watching from Miami. We have people from all over the country bidding and stuff. And you all can bid, too, both silent and live. We also are going to ask you to make sure that you try to make some kind of a donation with our paddle ask in a little bit. But let me get to this interview. Charles Barkley and I have known each other about 40 years. I've known him right after the Olympics in '84 and a little bit before that when he was the round mound of rebound. He shared with me some of the great moments of his career, his life, very reflective, very funny, always from the heart. So there'll be 2 parts to this interview, folks. So hang in there for the second one because it's unbelievable also. But this is part 1 of my conversation with Sir Charles Barkley.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure it is for our silver anniversary to welcome my old brother, my old friend, Charles Barkley, to be our 25th honoree, the silver anniversary honoree for WSA. How you doing, Chuck?
Man, number one, I'm doing awesome. It's been a crazy year.
Yep.
I want to, number one, thank you and everybody who's involved for this award and being honored. I think what you guys are doing is really important and really significant. You know, Roy, because, you know, when I made that role model commercial in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to tell people how important sports were. I said, because sports are one of the few ways you can get a great education. Sports are important. I wish everybody could be Charles Barkley or LeBron or Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, make it to the NBA and have all that good stuff. But the reason I love it when kids play sports, they get a free education. It teaches them how to work with others. You make lifelong friendships. And the one thing I learned during this pandemic, the world sucks without sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It
man,
sure does.
I always tell people, we're not teachers. We're not firefighters, we're not policemen, we're not doctors, we're not frontline workers. But if we don't have sports, you just have to deal with reality all the time.
Yep.
That's why I tell people, man, sports, we ain't important, but we are important.
You know, I want to talk about friendship and connecting with strangers, which is what sports does. It brings kids who don't know each other together. And I want to open this interview with a story that some people know. You certainly do. I did. But it's a very valuable story, especially in these times. A few years ago, you're in Sacramento doing a speaking engagement. You know where I'm going with this. You go to sit at a bar, you're by yourself. All of a sudden, you see a guy not very far from you named Lin Wang. You didn't know who he was. He happened to have been a scientist. You strike up a conversation with a total stranger. By the way, it says so much about you, Charles, because you are a man of heart. You love people. You always have. You have a conversation with them. The conversation turns into a dinner for 2 or 3 hours, and you have a real friendship between the two of you. We're going to show some pictures of you and Lynn. Tell me about this experience and how it changed your life.
Just always give people the time of day because you just don't know what they're going through. I was speaking at Kevin Johnson's event, and I was sitting there wasting time, and then I meet Lynn, and we just started talking, and I says, "What are you doing tonight?" He says, "Nothing." I says, let's walk. We walked to dinner about 3 or 4 blocks, if I remember correctly.
Total stranger, too. You never met him before.
Total strangers. And we developed a great friendship. He came to Atlanta 3 or 4 times for the show. And then a few years later, this is what such a good dude he is. He didn't even tell me he had brain cancer, Roy. You know, his daughter calls me and says, "Mr. Barkley, I got your phone number out of my dad's phone." That's Shirley, right there. She says, "My dad didn't want to take because he didn't want to bother you." And we're talking 5 or 6 years later after we had become friends. She said, "You know, my dad is dying. He's got brain cancer and he's only got a couple months to live." And I took the phone and cursed him out like a dog and said, "Yo, man, why didn't you tell me that?" He said, "You know, Charles, I didn't want to bother you." I said, "Dude, I'm your friend. You're not bothering me." And Roy, it was such an interesting story after that because his daughter called. I called and checked on him. He obviously wasn't doing well. And we had, I had a playoff game on a Friday night. And I wanted to get to Iowa. Let me tell you something, boy. It ain't easy to get to Iowa. So I had to catch like 3 flights to get to Iowa. I get there about an hour and a half before the funeral. I walk in, there's nothing but Asian people in there. And they're looking at me like, what the hell is this black dude doing at this funeral? And because he's the only person I had talked to or met in his family.
Wow.
So they thought that he was just had met me one time and had never seen me again. They didn't know we talked all the time.
I'm going to stop you for a second, okay? People don't know the other part of the story. He attended your mom's funeral on his own, drove out, flew out to get to Leeds, Alabama, which is not easy to get to, just to be there for you. Yeah. This is a beautiful thing. So when you went to his funeral, I'm going to show a little clip here, Charles, of you taking the time. This is Charles Barkley, folks, multimillionaire, didn't have to do this, goes to this guy because he's a friend in the middle of Iowa and says this. Watch, Charles.
I've never seen that guy in a bad mood. I mean, I have never seen Lynn in a bad mood. If you were around him, you were laughing the whole time. He just was, his personality was contagious. And like I said, I just wanted to be here for the family. Y'all have been amazing. Some of the speeches I've heard today. And like I said, the world is a little less happy because Lynn's not here, but hey, we always gonna have great memories, and best to the family.
You know, I don't want to make too much of this, but it is important, especially in these divided times. People reaching out to total strangers, becoming friends, getting a chance to know other souls. I think it speaks so much for you, Charles, and I want you to reflect on that.
Well, Roy, you know, America is the greatest place in the world, but it's also the most segregated place in the world. And you have to go out of your way. Don't go by stereotypes. You know, one of the problems we have, one of the reasons we have racial issues in this country, because we're segregated, white America, when they see black people, we're always gangsters and thugs. When they see brown people, they're gangsters and thugs. They don't see black doctors on TV in movies or television shows. So their perception of what we are, that feeds the racial stereotypes.
Right.
So I challenge all my friends, white or black, Hispanic or Jewish, meet somebody of another race. You should have friends of another race. I mean, you think about that. First of all, I shouldn't even have to say that.
Of course.
But everybody should have friends of another race. And see, Roy, that's one of the reasons. Growing up in Alabama, I know about racism. I know about racism in Alabama. My whole childhood growing up, I had to hear about it. Teenagers, it was talked about all the time. But one thing I love about sports, man, when you're on a team, it ain't no white or black. You guys are just together every day. Y'all are just trying to win. You spend a ton of time together.
Some guys you love, some guys you can't stand, some guys are real friends, some guys are, you know what I mean? It's a whole mix. It's a whole mix of humanity.
It's a whole mix of humanity. And then you meet some guys of the opposite race and they're awesome. And then you meet some guys of your own race and you're like, this dude's a bad dude here.
I want to say something you may not remember. This is from 1993, June 16 on Father's Day, and I'm going to show you this. I framed this because it meant so much to me. Edwin Pope from the Miami Herald wrote a piece called Fathers, Sons, Barkleys, and Firestones. And I'm going to tell you a story you may or may not remember. I'm in a stationary bike in a gym in LA one day, and a guy's sitting next to me, and he's going, "Boy, I saw that show with Charles Barkley. He's unbelievable, isn't he?" And he starts talking, and I said, "Wow, you know a lot about Charles Barkley." He goes, "I should. I'm his father." It was Frank Barkley. Now, you may not remember. You came on my show because you saw that show. Your father left you, and he left you high and dry, your whole family. Your mom, everybody, and you didn't want to have a relationship with him. But then when you came on the show, I saw in you a reconciliation. I'm going to read you the quote. You said, "I read about parents abandoning children, and every child has a right to be angry. And all I have to say is, if you're a parent who ran away, find your children, try to reestablish your roots." Now, I don't know if your dad's still alive or he's dead. I don't know if you reconciled it with him completely. But I thought that was a powerful moment in my series. And you were open about it, saying, "I'm angry, but I still want my father to come back in my life."
It took me a long time to get to that point, though, Roy. It took me a long time because I was angry. I was really angry for a long time. And then, you know, I had some great guys when I got to the NBA who taught me about life. Dr. J, the person who saved my NBA career, Moses Malone.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in detail a little bit later, but yeah.
But we were just, you know, so you're sitting around in Philadelphia. We take the bus to New Jersey, New York, and DC. And you hear all these guys having these conversations, and you kind of just eavesdropping because it's really none of your business. And I hear guys talking about, "Yeah, I got to reconcile. You know, you should reconcile with your father." And I'm like, "Listen," he says, "Why?" And he's like, "Because once your dad dies, you ain't gonna have no more Father's Days. Once your mom dies, you ain't gonna have no more Mother Days." And I'm like, wow. And even when I reconciled with my dad, I said, "Hey, listen, man, I got a lot of built up anger and frustration towards you. And I don't need a dad now. But I want to be friends with you because you are my dad."
Wow.
And we're cool.
Did that work? Did that work for you guys?
We're still good to this day.
Hey, I'm going to go with Michael now for a few seconds because this is kind of a tough subject sometimes, but I want to go back to when you were on Oprah with Michael and you had the funniest thing to say. Watch this.
You know, because people always talk about he's handsome. He's not handsome. You know, he's not handsome.
You don't think he's handsome?
No, I don't. I think anytime you get $300, $400, $500 million, you become handsome.
That was a great friendship, and it's hopefully still going to be a great friendship. I had heard that you went a long time, like 10 years, that you hadn't spoken because you were critical of his hangers-on, his people that were giving him bad advice, and he refused to speak to you. Where is the relationship right now?
We haven't spoken.
Still?
Still, yeah. You know, clearly Michael holds grudges as you saw The Last Dance.
Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I want to play a quote from Stephen A. Smith, and then you can respond to this. Stephen A. Smith was critical of you over this issue. Watch.
Charles Barkley is completely wrong, and I'm going to say that on national television. It's something that I've told him to his face. I'm friends with both of them. And I've spoken to both of them about this over the years. And MJ more recently than Charles Barkley. I haven't spoken to Barkley about this for years, but I'm siding with what Kenny Smith said to Charles Barkley years ago, and you can ask Kenny Smith this as well. Barkley should have called Jordan.
Is he right?
No, he's 100% wrong. You know, Roy, in our business, we have to criticize people.
Right.
it sucks. It sucks even more if they're your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I never get joy out of criticizing a player, but sometimes I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be my best friend who was not doing a good job running an NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't get on TV and talk about other guys not doing their job and give my best friend a hall pass. That kills all my credibility.
Wow.
One of the reasons I don't like some reporters today, you can tell the guys they like and the guys they dislike. That's not our job. Our job is to speak to the fans. I made up my mind when I ever got a job, I was going to be like, yo, man, I might go down, but I'm going to go down telling the truth.
It's sad for you. He was your best pal. I used to see you guys all the time. To lose a friendship over that?
It's sad for me today. But the question was, I was live, and I was asked, how's Michael doing at running the team?
Mm-hmm.
And he's done an awful job.
Mm.
And I think his biggest mistake that he hires people around him who they're never going to disagree with Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. They own the private jet. You know, we got all the bills, we got all the dinners and all the alcohol. So I said, so that's why. And listen, I don't regret saying it. I regret I lost a friendship.
Sure.
But I can't criticize other people, Roy, and have a double standard. That's not fair.
We're going to go back to the Oprah show. You're talking about the time you ran into a homeless guy with a sign. This is so Charles Barkley. Watch.
I stopped one day and gave this guy like $100. He had a sign that says, "No lying here, folks. Want money for alcohol?" And I thought the sign was so funny. I pulled over and gave him $100.
That's good.
I love that. He said, "No lying here, folks."
I want the money for alcohol.
Yes.
And you gave him $100?
I did. That was a great sign. He didn't lie. I did.
He didn't lie. Charles doesn't lie. That's one thing. You don't lie, Charles. You're not a liar. That's one thing.
It's too hard to lie, Roy.
Yeah, you got to remember a lot when you lie.
You got to remember every lie you told.
Well, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Roy. It's really a compelling and interesting conversation, and I appreciate you both letting us take a break in it right now, because now is the perfect time to do what Charles advocates for, and that is to raise a bunch of money for the kids that West Coast Sports Associates serves. I want to bring Roy back to help you understand the difference that you can make right now.
Well, thanks again, Greg. And as you can see right there, we have lots of footage over the years of the things that we've done. The kids we support really haven't had a safe, supervised, structured, physical program to escape since like March, almost 8 months ago. WSA is going to be there no matter what for them when the sports programs do resume. WSA has supported live events and also lives in many, many cases. 250,000 kids involved. They've had very difficult times, multi-generational families, no in-person school, and without team play, they lack the structure and social activities. Sports gives you so much. Charles talked about it too. It gives you a gratification and pride, a place to belong. Winning a game is one thing, bringing home a trophy is one thing, but meeting friends and getting a chance to belong to something is so very important. We have got to be there for our kids. We've done it for 25 years, and as Greg mentioned, any amount of money you want to raise, when we raise the paddle in a few seconds here, will really, really help us. Obviously, this is a very tough time. Obviously, a lot of people are hurting. These kids are really going to be hurting if they have no place to play, and this is our annual event. We do it every year. We've done it for 25 years, raised $4 million. We're very proud of it. But as you see all these kids, think of what they represent, and we're giving them a place to belong and to connect and stay out of trouble. And by the way, it also helps them academically. We've seen grade point averages improve. They are tied to academic excellence to the extent that you have to qualify for WSA to be on the sports teams. You have to keep your grades up. We've seen kids go to college who wouldn't have gone to college, junior colleges as well. So we're very, very proud of this program, folks. And when we do raise the paddle, as we will in a few seconds here, whatever money you could come up with, we know it's been a tough time for a lot of people. And for others, perhaps they might have a little more room. So we're going to ask you to raise the paddle. I'm going to bring Greg back here right now, and we are going to have our financial ask for the evening. Don't forget there's 2 parts to our Charles Barkley interview, though. It's coming up, and part 2 is a riot. So hang in there, make your contributions, make your raise your paddle metaphorically. I guess we have to do it, or virtually. But it's a great cause. We're very proud of it, and let's go.
We have the second half of Roy's compelling conversation with Mr. Charles Barkley coming up right now.
Here's another thing. You did a series for TNT, Turner, I think, whatever it was, on race relations. You talk about going into the lion's den. You met with Richard Spencer, white supremacist, the head of the white supremacists. He actually was thrilled to meet you for at least a few seconds. Now, I don't know if you're just saying that in the beginning of the interview, but there you are with a guy who hates black people, and you did an interview with him. First of all, why?
Well, I did. It was four interviews. The first one was.
By the way, before you say it, this is what he said: is SEC football is sick. Black athletes are not part of white identity. I'd ban football. He told you that. This is a hateful guy.
Well, this guy, a hateful guy. Don't believe in the race mixing. Don't credit black people with anything as far as building America, which obviously anybody with common sense knows. Anybody who was involved with slavery built America.
Right.
So I did a series of 4, and I'm really proud of what we did because I want people to see what's happening. The first one was between the cops and the black community.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a few days with cops, and I went to a black church and had some sit down with them, and it was really emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Had several moms who had their sons that had been killed by the cops.
Mm.
They wanted to kill me because I was trying to be a peace broker, and it was awesome. I spent a day with Muslims because, they're kind of in the same boat with black people and Hispanics. They're never portrayed in a good light on television.
Right.
Anytime a Muslim on television, they blowing up some stuff.
Yeah.
And I spent a day with them and gave them a chance to say their piece. They talk about how much they hate homeland. They're like, we're not like that. And it's like most black people I know, we're not out here gang banging. Same thing with Hispanics, but that's the way we're portrayed in the media.
Chuck, do you feel like you promoted him? You gave him more publicity? A lot of people criticize you saying, hey, all we did is give them credibility by Charles interviewing him. He's a thug. He's a horrible person.
No, because if they had any common sense, they'd look at the whole series. The whole series.
Right.
Like when and I did one on, I hate saying the word, illegal immigrants.
Right.
I met the most amazing Hispanic family. It was a mother, father, 3 kids. 2 of the kids had graduated from college and one was straight A's. And the other one was getting ready to graduate from high school and had never made anything with straight A's. And Roy, let me tell you something. They're here illegally. The mom and dad worked 3 jobs to put all those kids through college, which is amazing.
And they pay taxes, too. They pay taxes.
Yes. They don't drive. They don't go out at night. They call each other every hour.
Mm.
Because, if one of them get picked up, they can get deported immediately. Mm-hmm. But they had a schedule. I mean, it was amazing. Like I say, the mom and dad both worked 3 jobs to put 3 kids through college. And I guess if you come here illegally, because I had to ask her a question, well, why don't you become legal? And the way the immigration law works is you have to go back to Mexico for 10 years before you can come back legally. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. If somebody's been here all those years and been an amazing citizen, we should grant them immunity immediately. This stuff that's going on right now ain't right. It ain't right at all. I'm never going to give up hope because I'm a hopeful person. Because as crappy as things are, they're still the greatest place in the world.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I always tell people, I say, yo, man, I've been to other countries. They kill you if you say anything bad in other countries. You, like, disappear.
The thing about you, Chuck, though, is people look for the funny, but they don't look for Chuck to say the important things, too. Both. Funny, yes, of course. You're the funniest guy I've ever been around in sports. But you also say things that matter. And those are two qualities that very few people I've ever interviewed have. But I want to talk about some mistakes. And this is perhaps the one you said was the biggest mistake of your life. It was 1991. A fan was getting on you, and you got angry. I think you were still in Philly. You might have been in Phoenix. I can't remember.
No, Philly.
It was Philly. And the fan gets in, you spit. You were angry. And you didn't hit him. You hit a little girl. I'm going to just show this really quick because I'm not trying to just dig up old wounds, but there's a great story to this. Here it is. There's the moment. You hit a little girl. You have tremendous regret because you didn't mean to do it. And you make friends with the little girl. You're leaving her tickets to games. You get to know her. You made a negative into a positive, no matter how much heat. You took tremendous heat, and rightly so. Rightly so.
Yeah.
But
Roy,
you made a positive out of it.
Yeah, but, man, that was a turning point in my life. That was really a big deal for me. Number one, it was stupid, asinine, whatever words you want to use. The little girl was great. Her family was great. But, man, I had so much psychological stuff going on. So listen, I was mad at my dad. So what happened, a second thing with my dad, so he came from California, and I hadn't seen him in 100 years. So he came to my high school graduation, but I flunked Spanish and didn't get to graduate. And he went ballistic on me. So I was like, I went crazy that night. So then my Spanish teacher, her name was Miss Gomez, great teacher, but she flunked me in Spanish. And, man, I hated that lady so much. So that night at graduation, between flunking Spanish, my dad coming across the country and yelling at me because I didn't graduate, all the kids making fun in school of me. So I stood, we graduated on a football field down low. I stood on top of the baseball stadium next door by myself and cried for 3 hours straight during graduation. Nobody in the world knew I was there.
I have never heard this before. Wow.
I was so pissed, and I went home and I said, this is going to be I'm going to change my life. I'm going to stick it to everybody who ever said anything to me in my life, all those kids making fun of me for not graduating. And I became a total asshole, plain and simple. I'm going to be successful. I'm on my own. I'm just going to stick it to everybody. All these students, Ms. Gomez, my dad. And so my first few years in the NBA, going to college first, I just wanted to be successful, to stick it to everybody. I didn't need to and I was going crazy. I'd go back to my room and say, I wonder how they feel about me now. This is my whole 3 years in college and my first few years in the NBA. I was playing with an attitude. I was mad at the world. And that night, I remember I got suspended. I was sitting home like a loser. And something, I don't know where it came from, something said, yo, man, why don't you just be a great basketball player to be a great basketball player? But I said, whatever happened to you and your dad, let that go.
Yeah.
Let that go. It happened, let it go. And just for the record, dummy, Miss Gomez didn't flunk you. You flunked yourself.
Hey, let's lighten it up a little bit. What the hell kind of golf swing is this? I've watched you in Tahoe. I've been with you in Jersey, in Atlantic City. This is the shittiest golf swing of all time. You've tried everything. You've tried hypnotism. What the hell is this?
Hey, let me tell you something. All you kids and folks out there, don't get hypnotized. All you're going to get is a good nap. It don't work. Hey,
well, why can't you figure it out? It's been years, 20 years like this.
You know, Roy, there's better players than me who unlost it. When something get in your head, you know, you heard about the guys who can't throw the ball to first base. You've seen guys, great golfers who lose it, like Ian Baker Finch, who win the British Open, can't hit a fairway. Like, it's all mental. It's all mental.
Why don't you just quit, though? You love it so much. I would quit.
What else do old people do, Roy? Hey, old people don't do but two things, and I'm good at one of them. I love to fish, and I love to play golf. But that's the only two. Listen, an old person can't go play basketball or football. He got to play golf and fish.
Here's a quick thoughts about some of your favorite people. Let's start with Doc. You mentioned it earlier, how much of an influence he had in your life.
You know, he taught me how to dress. He taught me how to say no. You know, Doc is the only person, like, he signs all autographs, takes all pictures, but sometimes you have to say no.
Yeah.
And Doc taught me how to say no and don't make the person feel bad. He taught me how to save my money. I was fortunate to get Doc.
And how about Moses? Moses taught you work ethic, too, because you were overweight. He helped you get you in good shape, right? And we lost him a couple years ago. We love Mo.
He was the most important person in my life. One day I asked Moses, Moses, can I come up to the penthouse and talk to you tonight? He said, sure, big fella. I go up there. I said, Moses, why am I not getting to play? He says, oh, you fat and you lazy. I'm like, what? He says, you fat and you lazy. I said, what do you mean? He said, Charles, you weigh 295 pounds. You can't work hard enough in the NBA at that weight. He says, you got a lot of talent, but you can't work hard enough at that weight. And here's a guy who's one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
He says, I'll help you lose weight. This guy met with me in the morning and at night. He's, let's get to 290. I get to 280, 270,
wow,
260, 250. I actually get to 240, but I don't have any strength. He says, 250 is your playing weight. And this guy, who's was already one of the greatest on the end of his career, took the chance on a fat kid from Alabama and made him lose 50 pounds, and the rest is history. Yeah. And I will tell you this, one of the hardest days of my life, when I had to do the obituary.
Yeah.
At
eulogy. Yeah, the eulogy.
Right. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bittersweet.
I bet.
Because I had just saw him, actually. The one cool thing about it, I got a chance to tell him I love him.
Yeah.
Because the Friday night at the Hall of Fame, we saw each other. Every time I saw him, I called him Dad, too. I said, Dad, I love you. And he told me he loved me. And then I left and he left. And he went to do his charity golf tournament in Virginia where he grew up. And he didn't show up that Monday morning. And they found him in bed dead. So it was so sad, but I did get to tell him I loved him one last time.
Before we go, give me the 5 greatest players of all time, in your opinion. I want to hear it because I never heard you say it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead. I know it's hard. NBA.
It's not hard. Michael Jordan.
Is 1?
Is 1.
Not Wilt.
No. Oscar Roberts is 2. Wilt Chamberlain.
3.
Kareem. Bill Russell.
That's 5.
Kobe Bryant. That's 5.
5.
Kobe Bryant 6. LeBron is 7.
Wow.
Jerry West is 8. Elgin Baylor is 9. And Magic Johnson is 10.
No Larry in there, huh?
He's like 11.
No, where's Charles?
Listen, I'm in there. Hey,
how about Karl Malone's not in there, dude?
No, he's not there. No. Hey, listen, I don't know where I'm on the list, but hey, I had a good run. I ain't complaining.
Chuck, we're sending this to you. It's Tiffany. I'm going to read it to you. You don't even know these kids you're helping tonight. We're raising, and I want you to raise a bunch of money with this tonight with this virtual interview. It says, Charles Barkley, the Roy Firestone Award, making youth sports possible in recognition of all your athletic accomplishments and commitment to the youth sports in Los Angeles. You are our silver anniversary recipient. I couldn't be prouder, but more than anything else, I couldn't be happier that you are my friend all these years. Such a great dude, and you've always been honest and always, always led with your heart. God bless you, Charles.
Hey, man, number one, thank you very much. You've been a friend for a long time. And let me tell you something, man. We got to keep helping these kids. I mean, because this is crazy times we're living in. Our lives are never going to be the same again because of this COVID situation. But you know what? We just got to keep helping people, man.
Congratulations, Chuck, on the Roy Firestone Award. Youth sports were such a big part of my childhood and gave me a great chance to play with my dad when I was growing up and have him coach me, and it was a great time. I want to thank you to the WSA for all the great work you guys are doing. It's awesome, and congrats, Chuck.
Hello, my friends. This is Rick Neuheisel, sitting here in the CBS studios, where the great Charles Barkley waxes poetic on the thrills and chills of the NCAA college basketball tournament. Congratulations to my man Charles, who I've been trying to emulate on the golf course with his unique swing, which at one point or another, believe it or not, points to every major city on the globe. He truly is an icon, and in all seriousness, I want to thank Charles and the West Coast Sports Associates for all you do for underserved youth sports programs throughout Southern California. The Roy Firestone Award is a great honor, and I can think of no one more deserving than Charles to receive it, especially since Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie were busy. I hope you guys have fun tonight. Chuck, I look forward to playing with you as soon as possible, and I wish I were there. Have a blast.
Hi, this is Vince Ferragamo. I want to congratulate Charles Barkley for this year's WSA's honoree. Well deserved. By the way, we love you on TNT. Keep up the good work. Everyone, have a phenomenal night.
Hey everyone, Colt Nost here. Just want to take a second to say congratulations to my man Charles Barkley on winning this year's Roy Firestone Award. What an incredible achievement, Charles. You're one of the best dudes on the planet. I can't thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. Good news is you got plenty of room in that trophy case to add this incredible award. But on a serious note, congratulations. Couldn't be more proud of you. And also to everyone at WSA for everything y'all have done over the years. Y'all have been absolutely incredible. Hope everyone enjoys the evening.
Congratulations, Charles, on the Roy Firestone Award, and shout out to everybody at WSA who made this virtual event happen. It's incredible to watch you continue to make such a meaningful difference. I've been involved with WSA since I was 18 years old, and I'm just blown away every single year at the amount of love and support that the WSA continues to generate throughout the community. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you soon.
Charles, hey, Mike Dunleavy here. I want to congratulate you on this great night, being honored with the Roy Firestone Award by West Side Sports Authority. A great group of guys with a great cause. You know, you've had such an amazing two careers, one as a Hall of Fame basketball player, and secondly as a Hall of Fame broadcaster. And, you know, you have an amazing, uncanny ability to get people to like you no matter what you say. Whether you're saying what they want to hear or saying exactly what they don't want to hear. It's just an uncanny ability. And I've had firsthand experience with that way back when your rookie year with the Philadelphia 76ers and my last year with the Milwaukee Bucks before I hurt my back. We were playing in Philly, and we ended up at the same restaurant after the game. My parents and family had drove down from Brooklyn to see the game, and we were sitting waiting for our food to come, and all of a sudden I can't find my dad. And I went to look, and sure enough, he's sitting at a table with you and your wife, Maureen. And you have to understand, first of all, my dad was like Archie Bunker Jr. And I see you two guys together, I'm thinking, wow, how combustible could this thing be? So anyway, I rush over to the table, and I get there, and I said, Dad, come on, you got to, come on back. And you immediately put your hands up and said, hey, man, this is an A and B conversation. See you later. Me and you, Pops, are having a good time, and he'll be back, in a little while. And sure enough, he came back and just raved about you, and forever raved about you. Always asked about Charles, and anytime, I was either coaching against you or, doing a TV game or whatever. How's Charles? Did you say hi to Charles for me? And of course, which I always did, and you were always gracious enough to ask about him when you would see me as well. But you created, you turned him, and you created a friend for life, and you're doing that with a lot of people out there. And I just want to congratulate you and wish you the best going forward, and maybe you'll have a third career in politics. All the best, Charles.
Hello, I'm Mike Bone, Director of Athletics for the USC Trojans, and I want to congratulate this year's WSA honoree, Charles Barkley. Charles, you were always my favorite member of the Dream Team. Congratulations again, and fight on.
Hey Charles, Nikki K with Spectrum here, and I didn't bring out the broom to remind you of your NBA playoff predictions. I just brought this out to say that I am absolutely swept away by all that you do for youth sports and giving back to the community. So on behalf of WSA, cheers to you, Chuck, and congratulations on this very exciting honor.
Well, it's been my pleasure to be with you tonight. Thanks again for tuning in to West Coast Sports Associates' annual gala, the Roy Firestone Award. What an interview that was. I want to thank Susie Lee, who's been our executive director, for helping us out organizing this for the team behind the scenes. And also thanks to our great members for stepping up year-round to make this a great evening. So now, head home safely. Wait a minute, you are at home. So just turn off this feed and enjoy the rest of the night. And thank you for supporting West Coast Sports Associates. I'm Sam Lagana. Good night, everybody.